to our session on Google Scholar searches. My name's Jennifer Rempel, and I'm the Information Literacy and Resource Access Librarian here at AU Library. You can see my email address there.
Hello everyone, I'm Dandy Wen and I'm a practicum student at AU Library. I'm currently enrolled in the Library and Information Studies program at the University of Alberta. So to get an idea of how much Google Scholar experience you have, we'd like to know if you have used Google Scholar before. So let us know in the chat. You have any experience using Google Scholar when you're doing your assignment?
You can raise your hand too. There's a little hand raise function.
Yep.
So we see some raised hands. That's great. So some of you have, yep. Good.
Good. So, okay, so I got some yes and I got some no's. All right, so thanks everyone. With that in mind, we're ready to begin. So here is what we're going to cover during this session. We'll start with the basic Google Scholar, including a brief explanation about what Google Scholar is, and we'll talk about setting AU library links to the Google Scholar, citations, and finding full-text articles. So we will then go on to cover advanced tips. These include advanced searches, article citation ranks, and author profiles. So you can revisit this information in our Google Scholar Research Guide as well. You can find it on the library homepage under Get Library Resource, right here. And we will share the link in the chat there. Thank you, Jennifer. Oh, okay. Sorry, there it is. Okay, so what actually is Google Scholar? How is a Google Scholar search different from a Google search? So Google Scholar is a web search engine. It scrapes the web for the metadata of Scholar materials found online. The metadata is the publication information for an item, the title, author name, place of the publications, publication years, etc. So Scholar materials are items that are published or shared for an audience for scholars and experts in particular academic disciplines. The Google Scholar search results are generally scholarly, but it is important to know that where you're getting your article or item from. So more on that later. So for now, let's begin with finding Google Scholar. Jen is going to share her screen now so that we can do some live demonstrations.
Great, thanks, Dandy. So yeah, I'll just share my screen and I'll make sure everyone can see. Can you all see my screen here? Should be showing the library homepage. So yeah, this is where we're going to find Google Scholar. So you can access it in a few ways. Of course, you can just go directly to Google Scholar on the web, but it is more convenient if you have an AU Library account. If you're a student or a faculty member or staff, you should have an AU Library account. You can set up Google Scholar so that it will link you directly to items the library has access to in full text. So we're going to show you two ways how to do this. The first way is to start at AU Library's homepage. So athabascau.ca/library. Hopefully you're all familiar. What you want to do is go to Find Resources and then click on that heading again here. And this is where you're going to find all of the library's subscription databases. Now again, Google Scholar isn't one of those, but if you find Google Scholar here, you can click on G or just type in Google Scholar into the search. And you can see here we have access. So this is a good way to start. When you click on the link, typically you'll be prompted to log in to your library account. I'm already logged in, I believe, so you can see here. What you'll notice once you hit the login prompt is you're at Google Scholar, but you'll see the tag here, the AU Library tag in the URL. So this means that when you do your searches, it will show you where items are available in the library if they are, usually, but we'll get to that. So this is a good idea because, again, the settings have already been set for you, the Google Scholar links. In this case, in cases where maybe the library is down, like it was today, unfortunately, it's restored now, but if you can't get to the library homepage or you want to just set up your own Google Scholar links individually, you can do that as well. So you can see the tag here. If you go to just regular Google Scholar, You notice there's no tag. If you go to the hamburger menu on the left, click on that, and then click on Settings. So we're going to show you, again, this is an alternate way to set up library links in Google Scholar. So here, once you've clicked on Settings, go to Library Links and type in Athabasca University Library. This is auto-filled for me because I've already done it, but I'll just show you again. So AU Library, click Search, and you can see here it says AU Library and ProQuest Full Text. So you want to click on both of those because we have it set up. There's slightly different systems. ProQuest is a bit outside that. But anyway, if you save this, this means that whenever you go to Google Scholar, and again, I'm logged into my account, so it's showing that. If you go to Google Scholar and you have a Google Scholar account, and if you go to the bottom and see cookies, it should be, oh, move that. There should be a cookies link at the bottom of the settings page too. So as long as your cookies are set, it will cache your preferences here. So let me just go back to settings and just double check. Yep, cookies. So if cookies are turned on, you got your library link set. Now whenever you do searches, you can see AU library search results in those as well. Okay, so now that your settings are saved, we'll begin searching. So I'll do some demos here, and I'll go back to my page there. Okay, so we're going to do a search for social media. So we'll start with a research question. So my research question is there a link between social media use and self-esteem in children? So I'll go to, oh, I logged in one here, so we'll go to. Now, my search strategy, you might notice a few things about it. For example, these are quotation marks and ands. We'll talk about the structure of the search a bit later on, but for now, just remember that Google Scholar basically functions more like a library database than like Google. So Google, you're often typing in a full sentence, you're typing in a full question. What is the impact of social media? What you want to do here is you actually have to, it's better, you can type in full sentences, but you're not going to get good results. It's better to structure your search around keywords and your Boolean operators. We'll talk about these a bit more later on, but for now I'll just do a demo search. So this is what I'm looking for. We'll see what's on my topic. And actually, AU Library does have a guide to the research process as well. And the guide to the research process does have more information about structured searches, but for now, it's kind of outside of what we're talking about today, but this is what you can see when you do your searches. Okay, so your Google Scholar search results page tells you what kind of item you found. Is it HTML? Is it a PDF? Is it a book? There's often books on here. One thing to remember about your search results is that not all of these items will be directly available to you. Now, I had shown you, now, oh, you know what? I used the wrong one. Sorry. This is my non-AU library search. So I've saved my settings. We'll do that again real quick. Sorry. Okay, there you go. So you can see the difference actually. This is why it's better to have your links set, because now you can see where things are available. In this case, no link set. It's only showing you the ones, like this will link you to AU Library, but here it's a little bit clearer to see. Okay, so Google Scholar doesn't have everything here. So what it does is it's a metadata search, as Dandy had said. It's collecting citation information from items that were published online that are scholarly. So it's going to be searching metadata, publication information, and gathering them here. You don't always have access to everything. So typically with books are usually published by Google Books, so it's going to be a preview, not the full thing. Sometimes you'll see articles are behind a paywall or there's no link. So just be aware of that. You don't have access to necessarily everything, but the things you find in Google Scholar, we will do our best to help you get if we don't have access to it. But again, more on that later. I do want to demonstrate something very useful with Google Scholar. It's the cite function. So if you find an item, if you have found an item that you want to use in your research or in your assignment, you can capture citation information pretty easily. This is really convenient. And one of the things I'm working on a thesis right now, I use Google Scholar for this all the time, the cite function. It's very simple. I want to use this article, I want to cite it, click on the little quotation marks and cite. And in the pop-up window, it will show you what the citation will look like in a variety of formats. One thing I will warn you about, though, is that these can be incorrect. So, for example, if you're using MLA style, you can copy this and paste it into your document, into your bibliography, but do be aware, these are computer generated, so they might be incorrect. So for example, here the page numbers are missing. So for the most part, pretty good citation, but it's computer generated, there might be errors, especially if things are being pulled from the web. There might not necessarily be page numbers associated with it, or they couldn't pull them from the PDF. So just do be aware of that. You want to double check all of your citations. If you're using Zotero or Mendeley, these are our citation management tools. Again, a little bit outside of the topic for today, but if you're interested in Zotero and Mendeley, you can actually export citations to those tools as well, usually using your RefMan thing here. But anyway, if you want to learn more about those tools, Dandy can post a link in the chat box to our Zotero and Mendeley guide, and we are offering a webinar on those tools in the new year as well, so do be aware of that. Okay, so that's for citation. It's pretty useful to know about. We're also going to talk about access. So as I said, having our Google Scholar links set up to connect to AU Library is very useful. You can see this is in Wiley, this is available in the library. You follow the link, we'll open it in a new tab, and it should take you directly to the article in the database. So here, the PDF is opening. So I can click on that to open it. I won't do that right now because it takes too much time, but basically you can follow the links and it will take you to the item within the library if you have your settings set up for that. So again, extremely useful. Sometimes you will find articles that you want to use that don't have a link. So here we'll just go back. You can see a couple of them here. I had an example that I had found earlier that I'd set up. So for example, this article, now you can see it's a bit of a special one because it's also been published in a preprint server, but the published article is here too. And in this case, you can see there's no link. So if I want to use this article, I can follow through and see that I don't have access. So in this case, we want to accept cookies. In this case, there's no direct link. Or is there? Oh, I was wrong. There is. Oh, no, there's not. So sometimes this will happen. This is a good example. This will happen sometimes. You will run into a paywall. What I would suggest is never pay for an article online until you ask the library first, because these articles are expensive. If you want to buy this article, it's $30. You don't have to do that. We'll get it for you. So in this case, there's no link. So what do? The first thing you want to do is, oops, I closed my window. That was wrong. Anyway, sorry, I'm going to get back to that in 1 second. I'll just find our article here. So what you want to do in this case, and I lost our link here, but what I'll do is I have the publication information. So the article was called Instagram Use, Insta Moms and Anxiety in Mothers of Young Children. There we go. Okay, so again, this is where the citation information is useful as well, and apologies for closing the wrong window there. So now you can see this article was published in the Journal of Media Psychology, right? So just to recap, this is where it was published in this journal. There is no direct link. The link we followed took us to a paywall. So in this case, what you want to do is take the title of the journal and copy that. And again, you can see another error in the citation here, but that's neither here nor there. So we want to search for the Journal of Media Psychology. When you're on the library homepage, you can go to Library and Scholarly Resources and do the journal titles search. Now what we're doing here, just to recap again, is there's no link directly to the library, but you want to check to see if the library maybe has it. It's a bit of an extra step, but if you click on Journal Title Search, this is the easiest way to do this. So the Journal Title Search searches for all of the full text databases the library subscribes to. So in this case, we are looking for Journal of Media Psychology. Again, title of the journal, not the article, and we'll click search. And here you can see we do have access to this journal. So we have access from 2008 to the present, and our article was published in 2020, so we do have access. So what you can do now is copy the title of the article. It's a bit painstaking, but it's very useful. Follow through to Psych Articles. Now, what you'll see is every database looks a little bit different. So generally, if you're following a database link through our journal title search, it will take you to a different database. Oftentimes, it'll be an EBSCO-host one. They tend to have the same functionalities. So usually, you can do a title search. You can do whatever. So you could go by date here, or you can go search within. So again, what this shows is AU Library has access to this journal. We're going to click on the database link, follow that through, go to search within, advanced search. So it's searching in this journal, and then I'll click here and click on title. And so what this will show you is that we actually do, in fact, have access to the PDF in full text. The challenge we face with Google Scholar is that we don't have control over what they do. They're kind of a black box for libraries. They pull in information and they link to our library. Sometimes we can't fix broken links with Google Scholar. It's impossible, unfortunately, just because they have so many thousands of libraries across the world using them. But in this case, article's not available, double check the library, and there we are. The PDF is in fact in full text. So that's really useful for you to know about. Occasionally, though, you will find that an article is not available in Google Scholar. So the example I was going to show you was if we actually don't have access to a journal article, what you want to do actually is do an interlibrary loan. So sometimes you will see, I can probably find one on here actually. Look here, if there's no access to the link, you can actually just check and see if we don't have it. So in this case, there's no library link. It doesn't appear like we have access. And in fact, we don't. This is a Turkish article. You probably don't want it. But if in fact you do want a copy of it and we don't have it, again, first step is do your journal title search. If the library does not have access, you can request it through Interlibrary Loans. So in this case, for Interlibrary Loans, you want to go to Get Library Support and Guides, Tutorials, and Webinars. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Finding and accessing materials, and you will see that we do have an interlibrary loans guide. So here, interlibrary loans, and we'll post a link directly to it in the chat box as well. So if we don't have the article that you need, again, don't pay like $30 for it. Go to the interlibrary loans page and click here. And honestly, if you need any help at all, you can just email the library or get in touch with us through chat. So here in this case, if you want to request an article, a book chapter, or a conference paper, you can do that as well. So basically just click on the link, agree, and then fill in all the fields. So the article I want is from this specific journal. It's called such and such. So just fill this in. And basically what Interlibrary Loans is if we don't have a copy of an item, we'll contact another library and then see if we can get the item for you from another library. And usually Interlibrary Loans is pretty fast. It takes a day or two usually to find what you need. Okay, so now we're about halfway through the session. So we're going to go back to Google Scholar. And again, I'm going to demonstrate the same search because what we want to do with our advanced searches is we want to show you how to increase the relevance of your searches. So what I'm going to do is go back and I'm going to do this social media search again. I just want to show you ways to make your search more relevant. So here, we'll look at a few simple ways to focus your search and increase relevance. And in this example, again, I'd mentioned my search strategy before. We'll just show you what it looks like. You might notice the quotation marks here. I'm going to take those away, and we'll see if we notice a difference in our search results. So here, if we search for social media and self-esteem and children, this has generated over 1 million results. So typically this is going to be way too many results for you to search through. So you want to find ways to make your search a bit more narrow. And that is a challenge with Google Scholar in general, is it tends to have millions of results. But if you add, what is happening here is that Google Scholar is searching for the term social media as separate words anywhere in a document. So these initial results look pretty relevant, but as you go, they're going to get less and less relevant. So one way to narrow it down is to put our quotation marks around our multi-word search terms. You can see social media and self-esteem and children. We've made that a single search term. And we'll go from 1 million results to 120,000. So this has cut our results by about 90%. That's still a lot, and there's still ways you want to make your search more narrow, but that's one way to do it. You want to make sure you use your quotation marks around phrases. You can also add limiters to your search as well. So here you can search by custom range. Oftentimes faculty will say, or your instructor will say, don't use an article that's more than 5 years old. So you can look for articles published only since 2018, for example. If you're doing maybe historical research, so what was the state of social media in, say, 2010 to 2012, if you want to look for a very narrow time frame of articles, right? So there's many ways you can kind of change and make your results more relevant depending on what you're doing. You can use advanced searches as well to make your searches more relevant too. So we'll show you the advanced search function now. So here we'll go to advanced search, again on that hamburger menu. And it will pre-populate the search. So we'll just clear those out because what you can see is how to do a search using specific keywords and to exclude keywords. So in this case, we want to find articles that contain the exact phrase social media. And in this case, when you use the exact phrase, you don't need to include quotation marks there. So, and we want to include the words, with at least one of the words or with the words self-esteem. And the reason we don't use quotation marks around self-esteem is because the hyphen makes it a single word, just so you know. So we want the exact phrase social media, including the word self-esteem. In my results, I was getting a lot of articles about teenagers, for example. So I don't want articles about teenagers, for example. So I can say without the words teen or undergrad or adult. So we don't want articles about those types of groups. That said, it will cut out articles that are about children, which we want to include too in our search. And so if an article is about a child or children and adults, it might cut it out. So do be aware. And we want to just clear out the date limiters too. So just an example of how to search by phrase, social media with including these words too, and without the words. So without the words, you can use it if you're getting a lot of annoying stuff. Like I was doing a search for Spark, an open access organization, and I kept getting the Spark protein, the same spelling. So I just say without the words Spark protein or without the words protein, and there you go. But in this case, we'll cut those out. So if we do our search, you can see it should only include results that are about children, but in this case, children and adolescents, that kind of stuff. So Google Scholar can be useful, but there are some challenges to using the advanced search function. Okay, so that's sort of where we've gotten to with our advanced searches and our Google Scholar links. And Dandy will now take it on and explain article citation ranking. And we'll go back to sharing her slides.
All right. Can everybody see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, thanks, Jen. So one of the most useful things about Google Scholar is that you can use it to see how many times an article has been cited by other authors, as well as the direct links to these articles. So we've done a couple samples about searcher. We have done a sample search for the artificial intelligence and transport. So let's look at the articles, the first one here. In this example, we can see this article has been cited by 285 times. It's a pretty high number, and it could mean that the article is highly influential in academic disciplines. However, if you compare this number to the Scopus, another database, that you can see there's a huge difference. In here, there's only 156 times of citation of this article. So if you want to know whether the article you use is really highly influenced in the field, always double check with more resources. So using the cited by link will render the results list showing all of the publications in Google Scholar that have cited the articles of interest. So here. So you can sometimes find out more information. Oops, my bad. Here. So you can sometimes find out more information about an author by viewing their profile, as right here with the arrows. So if the author has a Google Scholar profile, their name will be underlined, just right here. So if you follow the hyperlink to view it, in this case, you can see that 4 authors all have a Google Scholar profile. So we will use the first one as an example. So we can see the author's publication right here, which are tracked through Google Scholar and the number of times that being cited. All of the citations to her work in the recent years and her co-authors. Right here, there's the co-authors. So now we're going to talk about how to set up a search alert. So if you found your search in a Google Scholar useful and wish to repeat it again in the future, you can set up an alert. I strongly suggest that anyone doing graduate research consider setting up a search alert once you start your own research study. So in this way, you can stay on top of your current literature without too much effort. You don't have to type in all the keywords again. All you need to do is just, they will send you an alert when there's new publications coming out. So to set up alerts to a new publication in an area of research, you must create a Google account if you don't have one already. But I assume that most of the people are going to use the AU library account since it will link directly to the library account. So just in case you don't have one, you can create an account right here. Or otherwise, just set one up and go to the sign in on the top right corner right here to the Google Scholar search page. And then you click on the create account and complete the process. And now you are ready to create the article alert. There it's on the left down corner, set create alert. And once you create an alert, you will see that you can send those keywords and the things with to your email address. So, and of course, just like you can create one, you can also cancel the alert anytime you want. So log into your Google account and click on the alert on the Google Scholar search page, and then click on the cancel button next to the alert you would like to stop receiving. So that's pretty easy, actually. So now we have reached to the end of our webinar, and it will leave you with just a couple words before we wrap up. So as we can tell, the Google Scholar is a very useful search tool to save you lots of time when you sign in your library account. However, Google Scholar doesn't offer suggested search terms or medical subject headings. Its sorting system is not as powerful as the library database. So one of the things you should always keep in your mind is that you need to confirm your resources as well. So for example, does this item from a peer-reviewed journal or from a non-peer-reviewed but scholarly resource or like preprint archive, just like Jen showed us before? And of course, sometimes there are errors in the citations and you can find in a Google Scholar as well. So library database, on the other hand, actually have better search functionalities than Google Scholar because you can limit or filter your result in a a lot of ways, like find a PDF or sort it by different criteria. And this generates more useful results and save you time as well. And it is also much easier to determine which materials that you find with the library database or scholarly or peer-reviewed. So you must verify the sources of items you find online, even in Google Scholar. So also, library resources are free to AU students, staff, and faculty. Google Scholars frequently display articles and book chapters that behind the paywalls, so which means you have to pay for it. But like Jen mentioned before, if you find some articles that's interesting to your research, you can always shout to the library and say, hey, I need help. So if you need help in using the library resources, or if you have any questions about the resource process or anything else, let us know, and we are here to help. Go to our Contact Us page on the AU Library homepage for more information, and we'll share that link in the chat box as well. So we operate on business hours, which are 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time or Alberta time. So if you call us or email us, so at that time we're probably gonna, pick up it and then answer your questions. And if you call or email us outside our business hours, we will respond to you as soon as possible. And back to the chat question. Now, I believe I already answered part of it. So you can also chat with the library staff member live through our chat service, which is open from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time, Tuesday to Thursday. And you can see the chat button right here on the right side of the page. So... And you will find a recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel, and it will be posted within the next few days. So here is the link again. I'm going to share the YouTube channel. There we go. Thank you, Jen. And we're also going to be offering a series of webinars in the new year that will help you to develop your research. And we are offering 6 webinars on topics from search strategies to citation management to keeping organized as you do research. So the best way to keep us with our webinar is to follow us on Twitter or Facebook. And I believe Jen already posted links in the chat box. Thank you. So thank you all for attending our webinar today, and we have time for your question now.
Yeah, thanks, Dandy, and thank you everyone for attending today. And yeah, just to reiterate, Google Scholar is really useful. Library databases are way easier to search though, because Google Scholar, you'll find something, you might not find the best thing. the library databases, you will find it's much, much easier. You're not going to get like a million results. It's much easier to focus your results. So again, the sessions we're offering in January, February, they will include search strategies. I believe we're doing Zotero and Mendeley citation management tools. So do keep in touch with what we're doing through Twitter or Facebook. We no longer have a webinars page, unfortunately, but yeah, you can keep up with what we're doing there. And we do announce our webinars on the your My AU student portal. So the 6 sessions that are coming up in January, February, you'll get announcements on the portal as well if you're interested in those. Because again, this session was about Google Scholar outside of the library, but you know, we do offer instruction on on the library materials as well. Do we have any questions in the chat?
Yep, we do, and
Oh,
we have 2 questions.
I
First,
see.
can you repeat how to add AU to the Google Scholar? And the second, can you repeat why we include quotation marks around the words in the search?
Yes, yeah, I can do that. Okay, yeah, so I'll just share my screen again, and we'll go back to the library homepage. Oops. Because we want to see how to add links to AU Library. So I'll show you that. Oh, sorry. Let's go get back to sharing here. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, so a couple ways to do it. So again, you can go to Find Resources and you can log in, or sorry, yeah, basically just log in to Google Scholar that way. So again, if you want to find our databases, this is where all of our databases are. So we'll go to Google Scholar. Again, it's not strictly a database, but we do have the proxy link to AU Library. So here you can go to Google Scholar through the library, and you'll see if you notice the tag in the URL, you'll know you have a link set up. You also can do this by going to settings, click on settings again, or yes, settings again, and then library links. And again, it's been pre-selected, but if you get rid of those, I'll just demo again. We'll just clear those. So we'll go back. This is the better way to do it probably, because that way, if your cookies are set and you're using the same browser all the time, it'll always work. So we have library links, Athabasca University Library, do a search, and click both, and then save. That's how you set up the links. And the reason, and just for quotation marks again, the reason why is because say if you do social media, what Google is searching for, and this is true of the databases, if you do this, 2 separate keywords, it's one concept, one term, but 2 different words. So if you do this search this way, it's going to be looking for social media anywhere. Now in this case, it's pretty good because it generally understands that it's a term, but as you get into 8 million plus results, what it's doing is it's searching for social and media anywhere in a document. So you could have an article about media and it won't include social media, or an article about, social studies and it's not about media. So basically what this does is it's searching for these words as 2 separate individual terms. Quotation marks will let Google Scholar know that it's supposed to be one single search term. And again, this is true of the library databases as well. So again, social media, now that's cut our results by about half. Again, this is why Google Scholar is challenging, so we have 4 million results, but that's basically what you want to do. So if you can think of other multi-word search terms, but you just want to make sure you do that, so it searches it as a single term. Is that clear? Hope that makes sense. And sometimes somebody did notice in chat that I used a asterisk. So what that does, this is not as useful in Google Scholar, I have to say. It's much more useful in databases. If you want to look for words with multiple endings, teenagers, teens, whatever, I guess that's what I can think of. Teens, teenagers. If you search for this, it'll look for all of those. And that's generally, so it's looking for the root of the word. But as you can see here, it's looking for authors too. So this author's last name is Teen. Again, kind of challenging. And again, Google Scholar does not necessarily allow you to filter your results in a very granular way. So this is more useful in the library databases. Same thing if you did like teachers, or go teach. It'll look for teaching, teachers, teaching strategies, all kinds of things. So again, this actually increases your results, not always useful in Google Scholar. But yeah, I hope that's clarifying and answering some of your questions. Oh, and you're very welcome. Yeah, anybody else have any questions you'd like to ask? We can actually, I'll stop recording now so that if people are shy, don't have to worry about that.